If you've ever written a line of JavaScript, you've declared a variable. And for years, var was the only game in town. But now, we have let. They might look like they do the same thing, but there are some absolutely crucial reasons why let is the modern standard. Let's dig in and find out exactly why.
So why do we even have two keywords for this? That's a great question. It's because the original way of doing things, with var, had some sneaky, tricky behaviors. The creation of let wasn't just about adding a new feature, it was actually a fix for a really fundamental problem.
Okay, so check this out. What if you could just declare the exact same variable twice in your code? With var, you totally can, and that might not sound like a huge deal. But here's the hidden danger. You could accidentally clobber a super important variable from a different part of your app without getting any warning, no error, nothing. Imagine trying to hunt down that bug in a huge project. It's a nightmare.
And that leads us right into the first huge difference between var and let. It all comes down to how they handle being declared more than once. One is kind of laid back and permissive, and the other one, well, it's strict. And it's strict for a very good reason, to protect you.
It looks simple, but wow, is it powerful. As you can see here, var lets you redeclare a variable, no questions asked. But let just flat out says no. And in programming, being too permissive like var is actually a weakness. The strictness you get with let is a built-in safety feature, and it's designed to stop bugs before they even happen.
And this slide just lays it all out perfectly. On the left, with var, the code just runs. The original value is gone forever, overwritten silently. But on the right, with let, JavaScript stops you dead in your tracks. It throws a syntax error, which is basically JavaScript screaming, "Whoa, hold on, you already have a variable named b here? Did you mean to do that?" That error is your friend. It's there to prevent a mistake. Okay, so redeclaration is a big deal, for sure. But it's not the biggest deal. The most fundamental, most important difference between var and let is a concept called scope. Understanding this is honestly the key to writing clean, modern, and predictable JavaScript.
So what even is scope? Well, to put it simply, it's just the part of your code where a variable is alive and can actually be seen. Think of it like this. Your code is a house. Scope defines which rooms a variable is allowed to be in. A variable you create in the kitchen might not be visible from the bedroom. Scope sets the boundaries. Now, var is a bit old-fashioned in how it sees the house. It only really understands two kinds of rooms. There's the entire house, which we call global scope, and then there are the special rooms created by functions. That's it. And this limited worldview is what leads to a really common and tricky problem.
And here it is, the core issue. var completely ignores the boundaries created by simple code blocks, the curly braces in an if statement or a for loop. So a variable you declare with var inside one of those blocks can just leak out and start causing all sorts of unexpected trouble in the rest of your code.
And this is where let comes in to save the day. Let introduces this amazing concept called block scope. This is its superpower. When you declare a variable with let inside any set of curly braces, that variable is trapped inside. It can't leak out. It lives and dies entirely within that block.
All right, let's see this in action, piece by piece. We'll start in the global scope. Think of this as the front yard of our house. We declare one variable with var and another with let. Out here in the open, they seem to behave pretty much the same. Okay, now let's step inside a smaller room, a simple if block. See how we declare let b equal 99? This creates a brand new, totally separate variable that only exists inside these curly braces. It has no idea there's another b outside. The second the code moves past this block, poof, that variable is gone.
And it's the same deal inside a function. A function creates its own special room with its own rules. When we declare variables in here, they temporarily hide or shadow any variables with the same name that are out in the global scope. What happens in the function stays in the function. The global variables are safe.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Look, after all that code ran, after going in and out of all those different rooms, our original global variables are completely untouched. They're safe. The temporary variables we made did their jobs and then cleaned up after themselves. No surprises, no mess. That is the predictable protective power of let.
Okay, so when you see it all laid out like that, it's pretty obvious why the entire JavaScript world has moved on, right? This isn't just about what's new and shiny. It's about writing code that's fundamentally better, safer, and just easier to maintain.
So what do you get out of using let? Well, for starters, you stop yourself from accidentally overriding variables. Your code becomes way cleaner and more predictable because of block scope.
And trust me, when something eventually does go wrong, all of this makes debugging a whole lot less painful.
Look, if you walk away with just one single thing from all this, I want it to be this core idea that really drives modern JavaScript development. It really all boils down to this simple idea. Using let and const isn't just a style choice. It's a professional practice that helps you avoid those nasty, hard-to-find bugs and makes your code way easier for anyone, including your future self, to understand. It's about preventing problems before they can even start. So now you've totally got the difference between var and let. You've taken a huge step in modernizing your skills. But you probably noticed that quote also mentioned another keyword, right? Const. It's a close cousin to let, but it has one more really important rule. So the natural next question is, when do you use that? But hey, that's a story for another time.